Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the 30-something podcast. Episode
7, baby.
7, baby.
2. Oh, no. 7.
It's 2
7.
for Fab. It's 2
Yeah.
for our special guest, Fabrizio Tullio, our dear friend, who's the first guest on the podcast. And if you haven't watched the previous episode, I did a whole intro to who he is on that one. And we're kind of just continuing the conversation on this episode. Fab,
We
as
hope
we call
you
him.
enjoyed the last one.
Yes, indeed. Oh, yes. Fab.
'Cause
So
he's
Fab
back.
is an actor. Because he's back, yeah. He's still here.
I'm
Fab
still
is
here.
an actor living in London, and you can find him on Instagram at Fab Says Hi. No spaces. He does fun little skits and is a hilarious talent. And
Thank you. That's so kind.
You're welcome, my dear.
I think it's so
And
nice.
we've spent some of this evening recording the last episode talking about friendships, adult friendships in particular, and there's so much to say on this that we're doing a part 2. Sal, would you like to briefly explain the topics we'll be touching on today?
Male and female friendships. Both female, and male, and male, female,
Male,
and
female,
straight,
and female,
gay.
male. Straight, gay. Yes.
both. Both of all those.
Yes. Hetero, homosexual, all of that.
Yeah. And to caveat, a lot of what we say will be generalizations today, but we're just having fun over here. Okay? We're no expert over here. Okay? We're just
Okay.
rambling.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. How do we kick off this conversation then? Any ideas?
You guys are the hosts. You make question and I'll answer.
How do we
I think you had the
podcast?
most ideas about female friendships versus male friendships.
Okay. All right. So I'll kick off with my initial thoughts on this. Again, we're generalizing, okay? But I think there's some interesting... Okay. I think there's some interesting differences between...
Sorry.
between female to female.
I'm sorry, Tanya. I'm sorry, Tanya. I'm sorry. I mean, you can cut this out, obviously. Okay.
Okay, so one thing...
Okay.
No, my God. It's like, it hits me in the giggle bit. There's not...
the giggle bit.
This is fun.
So, actually, before I had a point, but I want to start from younger years, okay? Stop it. Don't even start. So something that, as I go older, I look back and realize that there was quite a distinct difference here is if you think about being in primary school, as a girl, it was very common, right? When you're having a hard day, you're sad about something, whatever, to like be in the bathroom crying, but you'll have your whole group of girlfriends with you often. And like that was really
You're
quite
a different
normal.
kind of girl than I was.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure lots of people had different experiences with
But
this,
yeah,
but it was
yes, lots
common.
of girls were like that. Yeah.
It was common to see like girl groups really rally around each other during hard times. And I think we learn really young how to manage those situations and how to like console your friends and have empathy and share sadness together. Whereas I think that was a lot more rare to see in young boys. And I'm sure, there's probably lots of reasons why we're socialized that way, at least in the cultures that we were in. But I think because of the age at which we learn to do these things, it has this like, it has a long-lasting impact on the way we have friendships as adults.
Yeah, I mean, Tanya and I talked recently about a situation where a man was like going through a breakup and his male friends just like had nothing
To say. Yeah.
Nothing, no comfort, nothing. Like, I think men
Very
just
minimal.
don't really know how to do it, which is I think
Whereas
like
women will like
it's an
proactively come
important
to you.
part of friendship.
I think women will often like go out of their way to show solidarity and to give you comfort in hard times, whereas men, it's like they've almost got to be, we're generalizing, but it's almost like they've got to be confronted with it. They won't like reach out, and even when they are confronted with it, the opportunity to comfort you, there's very little that they know how to do. And maybe it's to do with this element of like, I think men, generally speaking, are taught to fix problems, and sometimes when they can't fix your problem, they're like, well, I've got nothing to say then, I can't fix it.
Yeah, I think that's part of it, and I think it's also an intimacy thing. Because I think men are much better at giving comfort to women than they are to men.
Yes.
So they can. They're just not comfortable being in that kind of intimate conversation with a man, I think. What do you think?
Yeah, you're right. Men do comfort women all the time. But I rarely
you're right.
see... But can we just
How about gay
can we clarify this is straight men? Okay, I think we're talking straight men here. I have never seen straight men, I'm really trying to, comforting each other, unless, as you said earlier, Tanya, there was something... What did you say earlier? Something
They were
that
confronted.
they were
could fix it?
confronted with it. No, something about confrontation. Like it just... This is really hard to word, I feel. Because I don't want to say, the stereotypical men don't comfort other men because it's gay. Because I don't feel it's only that. I guess that's what society is like, telling straight men, oh yeah, don't comfort other men because, what are you?
Comfort's gay.
Comfort's gay. Being vulnerable with another guy is gay. And I feel like that's what we get told all the time. But I think there's more layers to it.
Is it gay? Do you comfort your gay friends?
Yeah.
Then it is gay.
Yeah. I comfort my gay friend. But with other gay friends, like,
That's
they're
not the
hugging.
message you're trying to peddle here.
That's not the trying to pedal here. No, exactly. Very different. But gay men get vulnerable with each other quite easily, just like I get vulnerable with my girlfriends. And just like what you said, or you both said earlier, how girls get vulnerable with other girls. Gay men do the same. With straight people, I just see, a good example, I see my brothers, and how they navigate their friendships. They're both straight men. They have really cool friends. I like their friends. It's a never full heart. I mean, of course, I don't know their private lives because, I kind of dip in and out of their lives, but it doesn't seem to me that they are, when I see my sister, for example, with her girlfriends, I see an awful lot of hugging and touching and words of affirmation constantly. And with my brothers, I don't, even though I'm sure they've got fantastic tight group of friends, male friends. But vulnerability and words of affirmation and direct kindness is not what I see.
I wonder if those people, straight men or whatever you want to call them, people who have friendships like that, where they don't have much affection, they don't have words of affirmation, they don't, all these things, do they feel that they need it?
I think so. I think my brother,
Yeah, I think so.
my older brother, is not a very affectionate person. He's actually quite cold. I love him to bits, but he can get to that. With me, he gets to that place where he allows himself to be a little bit more vulnerable. But I don't know whether it's because I'm his brother or because I'm his gay brother. So he knows that I'm more open and more willing to talk about things.
What do you think it is about the gay person's experience that maybe makes them more open to that than straight men might be?
I think because gay men are not conditioned to be the ever-standing hard statues that the society... stoic figures that society implies straight men to be. Well, not even implies, sorry, blatantly says that straight men have to be this certain way, and I don't think it works for gay men.
I think it's very true what you say. Like straight men are afraid to do certain things because of this, like fear that it's gay.
Gay,
Because as at least in our generation, like as we were preteens, growing up and becoming intimate friends with people, if a boy ever said to their male friend, "I love you,"
They'd say
people
no
would have
homo.
jumped on it and and said
They'd say
no
no.
homo or
Or like,
gay
"That's
boy
gay."
or whatever.
Yeah,
So that probably really conditions you
100%.
not to do that.
And that's true. You know how I said earlier that there's more layers? There might be, but I think that's the biggest. I think that honestly, I'm not gay. Often people say, yeah, I'm not gay. Men, I'm not gay. Okay, no one, we didn't assume you were.
Yeah.
It's so interesting to me.
I think that there are a lot of men, though, who would claim, I think there are a lot of men who would claim that they don't need those things. I don't know if it's true, but I think there are a lot of men who would claim. Like, I might ask, I'm thinking about my ex-partner whose friends, he had very close friends, but never would they have shown it. I just knew because of how much time they spent together and, things he said about them to me. But like, I don't think they were ever affectionate with each other. But then if I asked him, he probably would have said, I don't need to. And I don't know, like, don't you question your own friendship? How do you know that they'll be there for you? How do you know they love you? How do you know? And he would just be like, I just know. I don't know. How do they know?
I guess there's a secret language between two people, right? I don't know my brother's friends very well. I know them. I know they're good people. But I can tell you that because I know of their really good connection, I know that my brother's friends would be there for my brother should something happen. And they would have his back. And I know my brother would have their backs as well. If anything happened, they would be there.
It doesn't need to be spoken, I suppose.
It doesn't need to be spoken. I guess for certain people, you don't even have to show it. Because the closest they're going to get to being physical is kind of like, oh, bro, what's up? That's it. And
I will say, though, like, I think as we're getting older, I'm seeing some really beautiful examples of men changing their attitude towards intimacy in their male friendships. Like a lot of my male friends and my ex-partner, they've really matured their intimacy. And like I've watched them make a lot more effort to be vulnerable, like very conscious effort to be vulnerable with one another and to be there for one another, comfort each other, and show affection. And it's so nice to see, but I do feel like they're having to be intentional about it. And it's had to come with some awareness that like they've been conditioned not to do that. Are you seeing that more as you get older? Like better examples of male friendship intimacy?
I don't.
I don't know.
I've got two quite close friends here in London, straight. Fantastic people. Well, actually, no.
I don't really witness male friendships nowadays, actually.
Actually, no, now Tanya's challenging me. No, I think I do, maybe. I think I do. It might be a bit... I feel like I don't have enough knowledge on this topic to...
That's okay. We're not experts here. We're not claiming to be. It's just sharing your experience. Okay.
Yeah, actually, like when you asked that, I was like, wait, I don't actually see male friendships in my everyday life nowadays. When I had a partner, I saw them all the time, but now I only know what male people, men are as friends to me. I'm not getting enough data to actually talk about this topic.
Small sample size, yeah.
Maybe we should talk about something else.
But no, it's funny because
other than friendship.
I've got these two guys. I see them almost weekly because they are part of the three big groups. The Italians, two of them are the only two members are male members, men, are the straight, and then there's me. And I hang out
Male
with
of
them.
the straight.
I'll see them tomorrow.
Wait, what are you saying? Are you saying that they're the only two straight men in the group?
There's only three men, me and these two, and those two. These two are straight, and
okay.
I'm gay.
Okay.
And I see them on a weekly basis, and they're very vulnerable people actually. So that, yeah, there you go. Everything that I spoken earlier about my brother's friends that I see not being quite open and vulnerable, and then I see my friends here, and they're 30-something men working in the city, bankers. So all that stereotypical bro sort of bro code archetype of a man, but they're nothing like that. They're very open, very just great people to talk to, and they're very good at talking about how they feel. So maybe what you said earlier, Tanya. So maybe some
Probably
men
their
are
girlfriends
changing.
that train them up to be good at them, good at that.
Well,
I'm just kidding.
Not true though. That's the funny part.
Yeah.
It's just interesting because they are really close friends of mine, but they wouldn't be if they weren't this way. Does that make sense? You're straight friends, men.
I think it's also like the activities that we choose to engage in with our friends. I think women tend to want to, if I'm hanging out with a friend, I'm having conversation with that friend. So I'm probably talking about the things that I think and feel.
Yeah.
I think straight men, at least, tend not to see that as the main activity of a friendship.
So this is like
Tend to just hang out and do something together.
A sport,
like I've heard people put it this way before, where like men have side by side friendships, whereas women have face to face friendships. And what that means is men tend to do things together, so they'll do an activity together side by side, whereas women will often be like sitting in front of each other having a conversation. And as you say, like really talking about how they feel and blah, 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 but it's maybe a bit less activity based.
And I think both have something to learn from each other. Because I think that face-to-face style friendships are great. But I have a personal story. I won't call it an anecdote because it's not entertaining. But I have a friend, close friend of all of ours, acquaintance of yours, whom I've been hanging out with in a very similar way every time in the last couple of years. Like every time I've seen them, it's been we sit down to dinner and catch up. Almost every time. And I've started to feel like, well, this friendship's like it's not developing as a friendship. It's like very much staying the same. And we're catching up on each other's lives and we know what's happening with each other's lives. But what's actually happening in the friendship?
What are you sharing?
Nothing really.
Together.
New food, that's it. And it's been something I've been reflecting on, and I haven't spoken to them about it actually. Although last time we hung out, I did try to suggest something else. Because I think I was becoming aware of like, let's actually do so, like let's have something that actually feeds the friendship or put some input, some new input,
shared experience. Yeah.
And it's not just like, here's what's happening in my life. Here's what's happening in my life. Okay, but you need something together.
Like what is happening to us as friends?
Or even sometimes, and I feel like maybe some people might fall into the I wouldn't say it's a trap, but into the, okay, I'm catching up with this friend, right? So we're going to go quite deep. We're going to talk about how I feel, how you feel, our lives, la la. But then we kind of forget the fun of the friendship, right? Let's just hang out and have fun. I guess there's some sort of dynamic, right? Whereby you have been talking about each other, actively being interested in that person because you're friends, but the fun has kind of fizzled out a bit. and then you just kind of like, okay, let's just stir things up. Let's go play
Have a
mini
threesome.
golf. I mean,
Just kidding.
let's have a
Well,
threesome. Let's have a kiki.
on that actually,
Oh, did you-
similar to that, I was like, why don't you invite your partner? Like, not for a threesome. Let's just
Yeah.
let's just bring some different dynamic
Yeah,
to this.
yeah,
Why
yeah.
is it always us two sitting across the table from each other? You know?
It gets a bit stale.
Yeah, and
Right, yeah.
if you bring another person into the dynamic, it can give you like totally new conversation, or not even conversation, just
Energy.
doing something together, just being in each other's company.
And then just enjoying each other's company.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a random thought, but I think, okay, female to female friendships are so special in so many ways. Like, I could say so much about it's okay.
I don't know what
isn't
triggered
it?
that. I don't know what
Okay.
triggered that.
Okay.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Female to female friendships are so important, as I could go on and on about. But a thought that occurred to me was about how, you know, in our sort of like very capitalistic, individualistic, overly rational world and culture, I think one purpose that your female friends serve in your life is that they become a really excellent sounding board and source of validation for your own intuition, which I think for women living in the kind of world that we live in, it can be difficult to trust your intuition, right? Because it's often not really valued as a source of information, like a trustworthy source of information, right? But I think often when you talk to other women, not only will sometimes they share the intuition with you about maybe something that's going on in your life and therefore validate it, but also like they'll just be more likely to encourage you to listen to it, I think, and like be able to speak to your intuition better and like strengthen your own connection with it. Does that make sense as a thought?
It makes sense, but I don't know if I agree that that's a woman thing.
Well, I will
What
say
I
men
mean is
obviously have
that-
their own intuition, but people do say like women have I don't know if a stronger intuition or what, but I do think that is true.
Well, can you give us an example? Like, what do you mean by intuition?
I kind of linked it to emotion. Does that make sense? Tanya, you said that women are more likely to champion the intuition of another person. To if you're in doubt and you ask a woman, oh, how should I react and how should I feel and what should I do? They will just say, feel that intuition, feel that, you know, the gut feeling that you have, follow it through, and they will talk to you about that. As opposed to a guy being like, I don't know, what do you want to do, man?
Or a guy being like, well, let's look at the facts. Let's look at the pros and cons.
Right.
Is that what you mean?
A bit more logical, and whereas a woman would be more like, okay, then let's talk through how you feel and the whole process.
I think it's not just about how you feel is a broad way of putting it. I don't think intuition is quite the same as emotion, even though they're very linked.
So let me tell you why my instinct is not to agree. If like listening to you, I'm trying to think of examples where I go to my friend because I have an intuition. And it's actually been like a couple of times recently where I've had like kind of like an emotional problem where I don't know if I'm wrong or I'm right. That kind of thing. And I've been intentional about, okay, let me ask a few friends. I'm going to have this conversation with 3 friends. And each time it's been like I've either talked to a man and a woman or 2 men and a woman, maybe a 1 woman, I don't remember. And I've been validated in my intuition, maybe more so by the men than by the women, if anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I don't know if, I don't know.
Depends on the context then.
Yeah. I mean,
Just
again,
depends.
sample size issue, isn't it? But
Yeah.
I guess my main point with this was about how, like, in the type of hyper-rational world we live in, how helpful it is to have friendships that can help you connect with your intuition and validate your intuition. Whether they're men or women, I guess, is
Okay.
side note. But But I tend to feel that women get me at an intuitive level more than men.
I don't know. I don't know. I
Do
don't
you
know,
have, yeah,
actually.
Fab, like in your experience between having friendships with men and women, what do you feel about that?
I feel like I'm quite intuitive in a way. Is that kind of...
So you don't need your friends to validate your intuition? Is that what you're saying?
I'm having a hard time understanding what intuition means, because we're just kind of like talking about intuition. Is it like an inkling that I have on something, an idea that could happen?
Your gut's telling
My
you.
It's
gut's
like a sense.
it's my
It's
gut
like
in
a
my gut feeling, right?
Yeah, it's like a gut feeling. It's like a source
It's
of
a gut feeling.
information that's not very tangible, but you can read a situation because your gut is telling you.
I need help with much more pragmatic and physical things as opposed to me listening, because I'm quite I I follow my instinct quite a lot. So if something doesn't feel right, say, I don't need someone to validate that intuition for me. I wouldn't do it. Or if something feels right, I would do it. Or third option, if something feels like
So.
so, but let's see what happens, I would most likely try to do it anyway. So if it's a gut
You don't
feeling,
tend to get second opinions from your friends on your decisions?
yes. But if I made a decision, I would probably do it anyway. Does that make me a bit
Funny how that
obnoxious
happens.
and
No, I think a lot of
obnoxious
people
and just like not a great listener? Even though I am a quite good listener. Oh, that kind of like, oh, I'm picturing myself as a bit of an asshole. But yeah, it's a hard one. I need help with the practical stuff because I'm a kid and I can't live on this planet by myself. Gut feeling, I would tend to, if my body tells me something, I would follow my body and my energy or something, or whatever you want to call it. I would ask for a second opinion, but I would do what I feel anyway.
Yeah.
Unless I were completely and utterly stuck in a rut. But it doesn't happen often with like intuitive things. More like, can you please help me out with this thing? Or I don't know what to do because this bad thing happened. Like practicality. But
yeah, I actually, like, if I'm thinking about just when you said like my female friends understand me intuitively, I can relate to that part. In a specific situation, if I'm talking about a problem I have or something negative, let's say I'm just talking about it in a room with my male and female friend. I haven't like sat down and been like, I want to talk to you about this problem. This is just a situation where it comes up. I'll tend to be like, but whatever. I'll try and downplay it.
okay.
A woman wouldn't let me downplay it. A woman would be like, she wouldn't say this aloud, but she would be like, no, let's continue this conversation. How do you feel about that? Whereas a man would usually take my word for it when I go, but whatever, and be like, yeah, okay, let's move on.
Yeah.
Yeah. That a realistic.
That's intuitive.
That's intuitive. Yeah.
Yeah. I think you're right. Like, I think my friends tend to know when to push me to reflect on things more. And I think I try to do that too for, well, it's not just my female friends, really. Do that for all of them.
A gay boy they will dig you. Oh no, tell me how you feel. Tell me how you feel. How will you feel if you do this? How will you feel if you do that? They will proper like go deep.
Okay, so let's move on to like this ultimate question. Okay. Okay.
What's the ultimate question, Fab?
Fab,
Why?
do you know what the ultimate question is?
Oh no,
It doesn't start with
No,
why.
I was gonna make a joke.
Do
No.
birds
Suddenly
Suddenly appears.
every time
Third person.
you are near?
appears.
Okay, the ultimate question.
That was
In a
soothing.
straight. Okay. I'm glad you're soothed.
I love how you
Can-
stated it. That was soothing.
Can men and women really just be friends? Straight men and women. The ultimate question. Because I've had this conversation with friends throughout my life, right? And different people have felt very strongly about this, but there have been differing opinions, clearly. For me, absolutely, no brainer. Yes, they can be friends. I think
For men, no.
yeah, it tends to be like with the people I've had this conversation with previously is usually the men that think no. So I'd be interested to hear your point of view, Fab, even though you're coming at it from a different angle. But like,
No,
I think
I can't afford it.
I think that since the age of maybe like 12, most of my friends have been guys, broadly speaking. So it's very
But a
normal
lot of
for
them
me.
weren't true friends to you. They wanted something more.
That's true, and that's a whole other topic, the whole other sub trauma in my life.
Okay, but
don't
then
wanna
what kind
think
of friends are we
about that.
talking about?
True platonic friendship.
True platonic friendship.
True platonic friendship.
So we're talking about that.
Yeah, here's a challenge. Like, I often felt like I was in a true platonic friendship. It often ended up that it wasn't. That on the other side, I think a lot of women do experience that, and that it comes back to this question, right? So, what are your views?
Yeah.
My experience is, well, it's from what I see. Again, I talk about my straight friends here in London. The two components, the two straight men, one is about to get married to another lady within the same group. The other guy is friends, really good friends with all the other ladies within the group. We're a group of 8 people, right? 4 guys, maybe we're 9, 4 guys, 5 girls. And he's friends with all of the girls. But having said this, all of the girls are in a relationship. I don't know whether that has to do something with it.
I think it does. I think
But here's another.
being in a relationship or not has a huge effect on
True,
it.
but let me add another layer here. Let me add another layer. This guy with another lady, with another girl of the same group, she was not in a relationship for a very long time. And the two of them, they just hanged out all the time and they really found each other as friends. They went to Canada together. They went to America together. They did a road trip together, just the two of them.
That's nice.
Utterly platonic.
That's nice.
Very rare, though, isn't
And
it?
I know it because they're like my family here in London. And then she started dating a guy, and then he started dating someone as well.
And how did it change after that?
Completely normal. They're literally the same people. The friendship between the two of them, unhinged.
Unhinged. Unmatched? Maybe it's
What does unhinged mean
like
here?
insane. Like
unaffected.
Unaffected.
Unhinged from your mind. Like,
crazy. It's completely crazy. Well, I guess it's okay. Unhinged, then yeah, that's not what I meant, but I guess it makes sense.
okay.
With their dynamics.
So, Sal, tell us why you think whether someone is in a relationship affects this question.
In my experience, platonic straight male, straight female friendships are very rare. By that, I mean that it has to be completely platonic for both people. That's very rare. Most of my male friendships, at least at one point, at least for one person, there was at least a question, you know? So I think that if neither of you are in a relationship, it is very likely for that question to come up. Maybe not between you in conversation, but in one of your minds at least. If one of you or both of you are in a relationship, then each person should, if you're a good partner, forbid that question from coming up with any friend. So it just doesn't. But I think it's natural for that question to come up, and it's rare for it not to. That's my experience.
I think I agree with you. I think there's a difference between the question coming up and, like, just because a question comes up, it doesn't mean it's not platonic.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Maybe more than a question then. Like, if, like, the knowledge that if they were interested, I would give it a shot too. That knowledge.
Okay.
Then you're not really platonic, are you? You know?
I feel like
It's-
I've rarely felt that way about my male friends. The feeling of if they were interested, I would give it a shot.
Yeah, but you're very picky.
Do you think I'm unusually picky?
And
I
you've
think
been in
lot
a
of women-
relationship for 10 years.
Yes, that's true. I still remember what I was like pre-relationship, believe it or not. Yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah, I am pretty picky, but I think a lot of people are, right? 'Cause they're
Yeah.
not just like, oh, open to anyone.
Well, I
Okay,
think
maybe not.
like
No,
you
I'm
can
very
be picky in reality, but still think about it. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm very picky though. I'm impossibly picky.
Are you?
But I am. I'm so picky. But with male and female friendship, it's just a physical attraction because there is that component, right? I could be attracted to you, or you could be attracted to me. So there's always something more than friendship. It's
No, I disagree with you. Because what you need to be interested in someone is more than physical attraction. And if you have a friendship, you already have that component of
Okay.
what you need to be attracted to be interested in someone. And then the physical attraction is just the one thing that you're supposedly missing, I believe. If you're good friends, then you have everything that you would need for romance except for the physical attraction.
This is really interesting. It's making me think about so many different friendships I've had in my life because I've had the combination of we're really good friends, you are objectively good looking, but I have no physical attraction to you.
okay.
Like the pheromones or whatever it is.
Yeah, like it's just like we're not gelling physically.
Right,
And it's
chemistry
like
is
so
not
purely, it just feels so purely platonic. I've also had
On
friends
your
where it's
side.
like on both, well, the particular person
Okay,
I'm thinking
okay.
of, I'm pretty sure it's both.
there. Okay.
But I've also had the friendships where it's like, we really get on. I am attracted to you physically, but I know this is not romantic. Is that weird?
Yeah.
I don't know,
What do you
because
mean?
if you're attracted to your friend, that's more. You see, that's what we. If we have to
what do you
In the
dissect,
mean?
scenario, even in the scenario I'm thinking of, he wanted to date me, but I was
You
like,
found
this
him
is
attractive.
not. Maybe this comes down to my pickiness. It's like I know what I want, and that still doesn't meet the standard. I don't know.
Okay, but you're talking about what you want for a relationship, but you can't say that's a platonic friendship.
That's not a platonic friendship. I agree. So if you fancied him,
I didn't.
that
But I didn't.
okay,
But
you
you were
didn't.
It was like-
physically attracted to him and he wanted to date you.
But I
So
didn't
how is that
fancy
a
him.
platonic friendship?
Well,
But you didn't fancy
that's
him.
what's interesting. I think there is a subsect here where that is still like you can. Physical attraction is really a spectrum, isn't it? I'm not sure. This might be
Is
a bit too
it?
complex for me to describe. Yeah, I think so.
Wait, I'm trying to think because
I feel like
I'm not thinking male female. I'm thinking gay. I'm thinking gay
Yeah.
friendships now.
yeah. Well, I feel like you're talking about like, are we platonic friends or do I want to be in a relationship with you? And I think that's like skipping like a lot of steps in between.
Yeah, but even the stuff
You
in
don't have
between,
to
like, do
want
I want
to be.
It's like, do I want to have a fling with you? Even then, for me, it
That's
was a
already
no.
not platonic.
Yeah, but it was a no.
But
So
then
what
from
it was
you,
for me
but from him.
platonic. Yeah,
But
for
it
But
him
it
wasn't
wasn't
not
platonic because he wanted to date
But
you.
it wasn't
so how
from
can you
him.
say-
So I think
Okay,
from
fine. You're right. When
but
one
isn't it
person
platonic when
has
both
feelings-
side? Right. Okay. And
Yeah,
that's the
I
problem
think
with
you're right.
and that's the problem with dating the opposite sex. If both parties are straight,
Well, there's also a difference
always be
between
that.
like there's a difference between how you feel inside and how you're enacting the friendship. Because if he was into me in this example, but but didn't cross that boundary and enacted our friendship as if we were platonic, I think you can still call that a platonic friendship. platonic
Theoretically,
until it's
yes,
not.
but I don't think anyone's really capable of that.
exactly. I think at one point it'll come
say more.
out.
But if I fancy you, I'm going to text you more often. I'm going to want to hang out with you more than I would if I didn't fancy you.
Does that mean
But-
you're
So it's
not
already
platonic if you
affected-
text them more often?
But doesn't it go? Isn't it detrimental for you to keep texting, or if you wish that someday something more could happen? isn't it detrimental to just keep going on as a platonic friendship if you are actively, if one of the two is actively more into the other person?
I guess it depends how willing you are to accept it if it never happens.
If you catch the feels, how do you manage that? If you
I don't
catch the
know.
feels,
Yeah.
that's already not that. I think the point at the base, at the foundation of every friendship, I think if either parties, right, at one point feels a spark or something more, whatever you want to call it, I think that's already we're swimming away from the platonic friendship here. If either parties at any point swimming away,
Swimming, the classic metaphor for friendship.
just keep swimming, swim and swim. I think when that happens, platonic is not platonic anymore. The second it happens in either people,
Yeah, I agree with you.
You know,
even
and
if the other person doesn't know it's not platonic, it's not platonic.
it's not platonic, and that's it. So it can it does it exist? Yes, male, female, and yeah, it does until that point.
And it's very rare.
And it's rare that people don't feel that at one point.
Yeah.
This
However,
is making me think so
since
deeply.
we were
Yeah, go on.
since we were in the previous episode talking about adult friendship, I think it really ties in. Like, I think actually true platonic male friendships, male plus me friendships, there are much fewer false male platonic friendships in my life now because the true platonic male friends have stayed.
Not the ones that think something might happen romantically.
Yeah.
Right.
Any man or boy who was friends with me because they were possibly interested, long gone. Don't remember them.
Okay.
The male friends I have still the male friends that I have, I think all of them are true platonic male friends. And partly maybe because they are in a relationship and have been for a long time. Maybe.
Okay. Can I also add, is it possible because they don't find you attractive? And so that... No, I'm just, because let's talk about the nitty gritty of it.
Is it possible?
Not possible.
Not literally not possible. But in a world,
Let's
right?
talk realistically.
In a world when they do not find you, because attractive guy and a girl,
Yeah.
they don't have to find each other attractive.
Yeah, well, exactly. I think that's like why they stayed.
Right,
Because they
exactly.
were true platonic friends.
Right.
Or
Right.
some of them, there was a question at some point, either with me or them or both of us. But we moved past it, got over each other or whatever,
Okay.
and have become true platonic friends.
That shows a lot of maturity.
So yes and no. Like both situations where I know that they could have been physically attracted to me at some point, maybe, or maybe they never were.
Question for you.
Yes.
Would you be comfortable then showing vulnerability with these male friendships?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Then
I'm
that's
thinking
true
so
platonic
deeply
friendship.
about this, like tagging on to what we were talking about earlier about, like you can really get on with someone and be physically attracted to them. And at least for me, that doesn't mean I'm gonna like them romantically. There's a third dimension here for me, and I don't know how to describe it. And I don't think it's just like, do they meet my requirements in order to be in a relationship? There's like a third dimension about like,
Can I try to feed you with this one?
yeah.
What I was talking about before we started doing the podcast, something called, because I was listening to this podcast yesterday, something called like friends with intimacy. FYI. So we're not talking about
FW.
FW. I'm so tired. I'm so tired.
Do you want to go home?
No. I think can I just like, I think I'm dyslexic because
You're
otherwise.
welcome to sleep over, by the way.
No, I've got contact lenses. I need to work tomorrow morning.
Not attracted to me.
Thank you though. No, actually, weirdly enough, really attracted to you
Oh,
as a person, as a woman, but I don't think I don't know if we could have sex.
I don't know if we could. We could try.
I mean, hot, but just not my type. Do you know what I mean? Just not my type.
It's okay, you don't tend to be my type either.
You know what I mean? Just hot though. Just I don't know if we're just sexually compatible. But never say never.
Never say never.
Never say never.
Wait, has this turned into a non-platonic friendship all of a sudden?
Oh no!
Well,
Please,
no.
we need to
You've
keep
got to
platonic.
reestablish trust. Yeah, so you're saying friends with intimacy.
So maybe the third dimension you're talking about is friends with intimacy. So finding someone that you are happy to talk to, cuddle with, maybe even kiss because you find them attractive, but not enough for it to become a relationship, but more than a platonic friendship. A friend with intimacy. And it was such a marvelous concept. But I don't know
You
whether
said
that
it was like gay people talking
it
about
was a
this,
gay
right?
podcast.
I don't think that would work with
For
straight men and women.
maybe, yes, maybe. It's something that
I think it could.
Mm.
And
Can I name the podcast?
Yeah.
Let me just
I feel like, I don't know, it's probably generalizing, it's probably sexist to say, but I feel like men can do that. I don't know if women can do that.
That's the podcast, by the way, if anyone wants to listen to it. It's called the Gay Men Going Deeper podcast.
Love that.
It's the Gay Men Going Deeper podcast. It's such a good podcast. And what was the episode was...
I think intimacy is maybe something like what Tanya's talking about, that third piece. Because like, if I think about it, if a woman had the friendship and the intimacy and the physical attraction, surely
it would
that's
turn into
everything.
a relationship. Yeah, true. We're talking very different dynamics here
Yeah,
with gay men
maybe.
and straight women.
Maybe. I mean, intimacy is also quite a broad thing. What was going through my mind is like, maybe it's something to do with like being seen in the right way that is conducive of you actually developing romantic feelings for somebody. And like to the point where you feel cared for in the right way, or you care about them in the right way. Because of
interesting.
what you see in each other, what you bring out of each other. Because you can have friends. There's so many different positions on the spectrum of like intimacy and stuff. But I don't know, man. There's some other dimension. It's really difficult to put words to it, but I think there's another dimension that's to do with kind of intimacy, but about what they bring out of you.
Emotional
Maybe.
connection?
Yeah. Emotional
I think-
compatibility.
The dynamic of the...
Well, I think when
the
you
relationship.
try to dissect like us as people, how complicated we are, I think it's legit to say there's more than two dimensions because we're so conditioned.
That's it. There's friendship and there's physical attraction, and that's all we got.
That's all we got.
Yeah.
But just if you go to there's so many layers.
Well, Fab, do you think that friends with intimacy, does that in your you don't say whether it's in your experience or not, but like you think that's sustainable?
Not for me.
Okay.
It was a fascinating perspective. It wouldn't work for me. I would have either friends with benefits, so we get into the action, and then we might have a chat, cool, pillow talk, but we have sex, or I have friends, or I have a relationship.
Oh, the friends with intimacy thing didn't include sex?
A small part of it. It was a small segment of it.
It would be so interesting to have this conversation with other types of queer people or people that have different like relationship styles, like polyamorous people and stuff, because they've like obviously to a certain extent broken out of the mold, the most prototypical mold of relationship and romantic relationship, that they'll probably be able to like give input into all these other levels that we've got around intimacy, friendship, romance. Like, there's some polyamorous people that have like 3, 4 partners, but they all play a very different role. Like one might be your like life partner. You live with them. It's romantic, but there's no sex. And then you might have one that's like a boyfriend, one that's just sex, one that it's like there's so many different levels here. It'd be really interesting to hear other
That sounds very
perspectives.
much to me like an open relationship to a gay man. I know lots of gay men who are just long-term partners. They don't have sex. They have sex with other people. But they're not polyamorous.
Right.
They are in one relationship. So monogamous, but open, which is far, far more popular in the gay world than anything else. But I think, don't you guys agree that we are just very complicated people as
Sure.
as the human race. So
Not me. I very simple. I simple woman.
okay,
Okay.
okay, girl, okay.
If you're the one for Sasha, message her in the DMs. If you like simple women that look
No.
good in pink.
Please don't stalk these two girls. They're bright, intelligent, beautiful women. Don't let them call the police on you.
Thanks, Fab. On that note, guys, shall we wrap up?
Well, we've done 2 episodes with Fab now, so we won't invite him back for another
3 years.
Few months.
6 years.
Just kidding.
Friendship in our 40s. Well, no, not quite. We're not that old.
Soon. It'll
Soon.
come soon.
It'll come. 8 years.
Yeah. So anyway,
It's fine.
It's only 8 years
No,
away.
it's
Oh my
fine.
God.
It's fine.
follow our dear friend Fab on Fab Says Hi. Give us a like, a rating, a follow, subscribe, comment, whatever. Love to hear your thoughts on any of the topics that we spoke about in the comments below. It's always really fun to hear other perspectives.
I'm sure there will be a lot of thoughts.
All right, guys. Thanks for a great conversation. Fabrizio, thank you for being our most wonderful first guest.
You look so
Really
handsome.
enjoyed it.
Thank you. You guys look beautiful. Thank you for inviting me,
thanks.
both of you. It's been such a blast. Looking forward to doing it again in 6 years' time.
Pleasure.
But hopefully
Pleasure.
before.
Yeah. All right. Bye, everyone.
Have a good night.
Ciao, bello.